What's going on, guys? Here we go. Casual Friday brief coming at you hot. So you got power and iron up is going to kick off with any variation of a bench press, right? So what do we mean by that? You could do a narrow grip, you could do a wide grip, you could do a standard grip, you could do a standard grip with bands, you could do it with chains, you could do any mixture in there. You could pulse. Anything that you want to do that's going to challenge you, switch it up a little bit, give you kind of a new stimuli to work with. Anywhere in there is going to be good to go. So part two is going to be 4 rounds now. So here's the greatest thing, right? So you already worked the bench, but now we're going to really take that pec and kind of bring it home, lagging muscle. Going to destroy this thing out. So stay smart with it, but get lots of reps, lots of volume, stretch the pec out. You're going to do, and we're talking upper pec specifically here, right? So we got 4 rounds, incline dumbbell bench press. So you're going to do 4 at the bottom range, 4 at the top range, and then as many reps as possible with that full range. Take you a 30-second rest, and afterwards, Terminator pull-ups, right? So coming from Sarah Connor doing Terminator pull-ups in Terminator 2, which is really just a narrow grip pull-up, pulling in this direction, right? So how many should you switch? Try to keep it even. So maybe you do 2 over here, quick switch. If you know you're gonna do like 12 reps, then maybe you do 6 and then switch. If you think you can only get about 10 reps, do 5 and 5, somewhere in there, just vary it up so you get a little bit of balance. Resting 1.5 to 2 minutes between rounds. Part 3 is going to be 3 to 4 rounds. We told you we're going to get those pecs all hot today, right? As many reps as possible of dumbbell chest flies. And the same thing, as you set, pinch your shoulder blades back, fill your pec, open up as you're coming out, stretching across that pec line, and then squeeze back towards the center of that chest as much as possible. But we're only still saying bottom half, right? So even when you're squeezing, you're thinking, I want to squeeze it back in, but I don't need to bring it all the way up. So you're going to challenge it in range, squeeze up, in range, squeeze up. After you knock out your dumbbell chest flies, take you about a 20-second rest and make sure you're giving it solid motion, solid energy. And then after that, you're going to knock you out seated dumbbell rear delt raises, top half only, right? So this is the most difficult half. So you're sitting down, squeezing it up, staying up in this top range, getting as many reps as you can. As you get tired, it's going to sneak its way down a little bit. That's normal. Resting 30 seconds to a minute between rounds, and like we said, 3 to 4. So kind of depending on how you feel from the week. If you got a little bit more gas, then you can do 4 rounds. If you got a little bit less gas, you can do 3 rounds. It's really up to you. Kind of just make sure you feel like your muscles got stimulated. You're going to be good to go. Part 4 is going to be 4 to 5 rounds of band pulls to the chest, right? So you could pull this just like this through your arms, or you can pull it using your back. So if you think about your elbow and you row it back, that's what we're looking for. We don't want to just chest pull this thing with our hands, right? With our hands and our biceps. We want to pull it back and let that upper middle back get built, right? So the upper trap, middle trap, rhomboids, scapula gets built up, right? Supportively around the scapula. Part 5, lagging muscle. Part 6, mobility majors, marching orders. Fitness and sport, 4 rounds, right? No one rep max for fitness and sport. And the reason why is the difficulty with your muscle ups, GHDs, full body, stretching through that psoas, all your rectus, all your abdomen, gonna get a lot of volume in there. And then you're gonna turn around and do handstand push-ups. As dynamic as you can do with your arms. You're gonna turn upside down, you're gonna be knocking out a lot of reps there. Even though you gotta rest 1 minute between rounds, it's a lot of rotation on your shoulder all in all, right? So you got a lot going on where you're pulling and rotating through, then you're driving through your shoulders, everything. So when we looked at it, we didn't want a 1 rep max specifically with this today. We wanted to keep all of your kind of focus and energy and health on solid, difficult technical movements today over fatiguing down on a bench and then turn around and asking those same muscles to kind of pick up the load while you're doing such dynamic stuff. So no max on this specifically, 4 rounds. Part 2 is going to be 4 rounds of 20 band pulls to chest, like we were just talking about. But after your band pulls to chest, you're going to lay down and do dumbbell JM press, right? How many? 10 at the top range. And when you do it, so when you lay back, don't let your elbows sit like in line. Try to take it back so as you press this out, you're still fighting against gravity with this dumbbell, not just sitting through the bone structure, right? So top range, then we're gonna go bottom range, then you're gonna go 5 full range. And if 5 isn't enough, you can add you a little bit more, but based upon the dumbbells you use, try to use this as a metric. By the time you go through 10 on the top, not too bad. 10 on the bottom, much worse. And then by the time you get through 5, it should be enough to fatigue you out where you can go ahead and take your rest at that point. Lagging muscle, mobility majors if you want it, TDY. All right, guys, here we go. So part 1 is going to be dumbbell bench 4 reps. Now you got 6 sets. You're not 1 rep max on this, but you are increasing weight each round. So you're going to do 8 reps, right? In every round, you're going to get a little bit heavier if you have the dumbbells to support that. If you don't have heavy enough dumbbells to be able to continually get heavier each round, then instead you probably could just go with 4 rounds, as many reps as possible, and that'll still serve you plenty of volume versus a higher intensity. Rest to it from a minute to a minute and a half between rounds. And again, as you go heavier, increasing that rest is going to let you be a little bit more powerful, build a little bit more muscle. So the increased rest will actually do you well to build some gains. Part 2 is going to be 4 rounds incline bench press like we already talked about, but now you're going to do as many reps as possible, right arm, and as many reps as possible, left arm, of dumbbell rows with a supinated grip. So just like every other row we do where we're driving that elbow back, except instead of pronated, we're going to supinate it over, drive it back as much as possible. Go over to the MHG Daily IG right after this. You got a minute and a half to 2 minutes between rounds. Since you're working a single arm and the other arm, this is going to give both arms enough time to fully rest before you get back into these high reps on this incline dumbbell bench press. Part 3 is going to be 3 to 4 rounds like we talked about, chest flies and seated rear delt raises. And then part 4 is going to be 4 by 15 seal rows. So the cool thing about this is your chest supported, you're laying down, there's nowhere to go. But one thing you can do is instead of kind of laying down and being neutral, lay down already pinched, and then when you lower, pull it even further as you come up, as much as you can. Lag a muscle if you want it. TBY, 6 rounds, as many reps as possible push-ups. Round 1 and 2, we got bench push-ups, so it's a little bit in this low pec. In round 3 and 4, you got narrow coming in. Then rounds 5 and 6, push-ups now with your feet elevated. So we're kind of walking from the bottom. Now we're here to finish this thing out. Part 2, 4 rounds, 30-second prone, isometric chest, fly, press. What the heck is that? Go over to the MHG Daily IG right after this. Take a look. But you're just setting to this in range, squeezing. It'll make more sense when you see a prone rear delt pulses. Rest 1 minute between rounds. Part 3 is 3 rounds, as many reps as possible. Towel lat pull downs, towel lat rows, supinated grip. Same thing. Go over to the MHG Daily IG right after this. Rest 1 minute between rounds. And we didn't write AMRAP here, but that's what it is. Get as many as you can. Lag and muscle if you want it. Make sure you guys continue to mobilize. The more mobile you are, like we talked about, better range of motion, right? It's going to help you. It actually helps your nervous system, helps you stay more relaxed when you're not working out and you have great mobility. Check it out. Increase your range. Let every aspect of your lifting and gains get better. Hoo-yah, never quit.